I'll get you to do a little clap when you're ready. Thank you. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me in the studio today. It's great to have you. So I'll just get you to start by introducing yourself and your role and tell me a little bit about your company.
Cool. So my name is Steve Grace and I am the founder and CEO of the Nudge Group and also now the CEO of Balance the Grind. So let's talk about Nudge first.
Yeah, sure.
Nudge Group was a business I started 5 years ago, having had a number of recruitment businesses in the past, to just focus on startups and scale-ups because I didn't think anyone was doing a particularly good job. And it's a very different process and it's a very different sell and you need very different people depending on where you are in that funding cycle. And so we said, right, we're just going to build a business that does nothing else. We're going to create payment solutions. It's going to be built entirely around the founder. And there was a couple other people who did that at the same time. All three of us are still going. I'm not going to mention them. But, and it's gone really well. And it's expanded into London, it's expanded into Singapore, and it's probably one of the most rewarding things I've done, because helping founders grow their businesses when they're very unsure and a lot of them have never hired before or they're technical or whatever it is, I don't know, there's just something about the whole process. And we've always gone out with a give first, take later. Mm-hmm. So the Nudge Group was built around meeting up with founders, helping them get funding, helping them with their marketing and not charging them anything for that and putting them out through some of our media podcasts with a view that that will help them succeed, and when they succeed they'll grow, and when they'll grow they'll come back and use us, and sort of working in that, what I used to call the karma circle.
Yeah.
I have to think of a better name. It's a terrible
No, I
name.
love that.
But I know it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit cheesy. But working like that is not only incredibly rewarding, you're not actually ever selling. All you do is go out, meet people and help them, and business comes to you. Now it takes a bit longer to happen, but it's just such a, honestly, it fills you with, I know this sounds even cheesier, it fills you with joy to some degree.
It's so very organic, feels
It's
like.
very organic, it's very natural, and it just, yeah, it's a feel-good factor, I guess, which is a selfish feel-good factor.
Yeah.
And then Balance the Grind, we bought Balance the Grind a few years back. It was a blog, and it was basically interviews on how people live their life and how they balance their work life. And the whole point of it was to make people feel comfortable about the way they were living their lives. So we wanted people to understand that there is no right or wrong definition of balance. It depends where you are in life. And it exploded in COVID, right? Because one, everyone was at home and had nothing else to do, but two, everyone's lives were changing. But recently we've changed it into an online publication, and now it's all about helping people who want to make themselves better in some way, live a better life. And it goes across health and fitness and everything in that, that's huge. Personal finance and wealth creation, so from a perspective of your own financial freedom, career and entrepreneurship, and then social impact and the environment. And we do editorial and product reviews and book reviews and videos and all sorts of masterclasses and all sorts of stuff. So it's a direct-to-consumer readership sort of, so you get the newsletter and you read it every week, and we publish every day.
Wow.
That's what we're doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then we've got a new cool podcast that I could tell you about if you want to hear.
Ah, absolutely.
Because I'm so excited.
Tell me.
So we have our original podcast, Give It a Nudge, which is just interviewing founders, which is great. And that's very helpful for them to tell their story, whether they're trying to hire or whether they're trying to raise money. But the new one for Balance the Grind, and I haven't quite got a name for it yet. We're trialing it tomorrow, but Balance the Grind has a lot of articles about celebrity habits. So what we've decided to do is myself and my co-founder Dana are going to pick a celebrity each week, and we're going to try and live one of their days, and we're going to film parts of it, and we're going to see what it's like, and then we're going to sit around a table with a guest who will also have had to have done someone's celebrity and talk about, is it realistic, is it ridiculous, and the idea is to talk about the importance of habits, but from a comedy entertainment point of view, and I can't wait.
I love that idea. I'm all about celebrities. So
well, we'll have to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Have me on. That sounds so exciting.
I can't wait. So we're literally trialing our first one tomorrow to make sure it's not a terrible idea. So we'll see how we go.
Sure. Yep. I'm all here for it. Great. So what would you say is your company's point of difference, or companies?
Let's talk about Nudge first, because I think it's relevant to your audience more.
Yep.
I think the interesting thing for me about Nudge is everyone who works at Nudge has worked for me in one of my other recruitment companies. And they were all successful there. But when they came to Nudge, they had to relearn the way they worked, because we do work in such a different way. And what I mean by that is all of them are educated as to what kind of different people you need at different stages. You know, in pre-seed and seed, you're going to need people who are great with ambiguity. But when you get to Series B, you need people who are not great with ambiguity, but are very specific. And you also sort of have to help founders understand that as they go through that journey, they're going to have to let certain people go, and they never like letting people go, and hire different types of people and as they make that journey from founder to CEO. So first, we train them on all of that. We train them on how funding works so that they can sell an ESOP. We have payment plans for them. But the most important thing is the Give It a Nudge podcast that I mentioned to you earlier. So when we're hiring for any founder, I believe that when you are hiring for a startup, you have to reverse the process of how you would normally hire for a corporate. So for example, if I'm hiring for a business analyst for a corporate, I go out to the market and look for a BA, I then tell them which company it's for, and then they get to meet the manager. In this respect, I think they need to know the founder first, then the business, and then the job last. And we're like, well, how the hell are we going to do that? So we came up with this idea of filming a video podcast where we talk to them about their journey. So when we approach someone on LinkedIn, we send them a 30-second clip of the founder talking about why it's great to work there. But we don't tell them what the job is. If they like that, we'll then send them the whole clip of the whole journey of the business and what its mission is. If they still like it, and we lose a lot of people in that process, but if they still like it, then and only then do we talk about the job. And by reversing it, what you do is you get people who, one, align with the founder, which is the most important, two, align with the mission, which is next most important, and then three, well, the job's kind of the last thing, but it's the least important in my view, and they tend to stay longer and have a far greater impact. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I love that process. Yeah,
it's cool.
Flipping on its head.
And we found that out by mistake, which is even better.
Oh, you totally did that intentionally.
Yeah, totally, like everything else.
Yeah. Amazing. Are there any frequent questions that you get from clients or prospective clients?
How much is it going to cost me? And I don't necessarily mean in terms of our fees. We have varying fees depending on where you are, and we let them pay over 6 months and things like that. It's really the understanding, I think, of salaries and equity, how much to give away. So if someone hasn't, we always talk about the importance of equity when you're hiring in startups, and I think it's really important to have an ESOP plan. But if they haven't been through the ESOP process, or they haven't come through an Antler or a Tank Stream or something like that, and they don't understand it, they want to be giving away 20-30% to people, which is crazy. So I think those are the two most questions. How much does someone get paid, or how much should I pay someone? What's offensive and what's not offensive, because you are going to get paid less in an early stage startup. How do we increase their salary, and when do we increase their salary, and then how much equity do we give, and how does that work? That's probably the most important questions we get.
Yeah. Are there any particular questions that you want clients or prospective clients to ask?
Yes, so much. I want early stage founders particularly to understand the kind of individuals they need, and we touched on this earlier, at their stages. And there's that age-old example that people always talk about where the tech founder and the product founder go and hire their head of sales, and they take someone out of Salesforce, who of course is a complete disaster. Because even though Salesforce was once a startup back a long time ago, working in Salesforce now is nothing like working in a startup. And you don't want to go and hire people from these big glamazon tech businesses to come work in your startup. It just doesn't work. So I would like more of them to understand the kind of people that work at different stages, and they don't think about that, because usually they've never hired. They just think, oh, they're a big name person, they must be genius. And it's almost the opposite.
Right. That's, good point.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and what brings you to S2S Summit today?
Well, I was moderating the first session, which was great.
Yeah.
I did an interview with Brad, which is also great. And plus, I love coming to these events. And this is the inaugural one, right? And I think it's amazing. I mean, I'm really blown away by the vibe, the fact that there's 400 people here, the fact that there's 3 event rooms, the fact that there's a podcast studio, which we're sitting in right now. There's the food, there's the investor lounge, there's the sort of stands, there's everything you would expect out of a big event that's been going for years. And I'm a big fan of Brad and what he does, and I really wanted to see how this was going to pan out, and I just think he's done an outstanding job. I'm really blown away. I think he is as well, to be honest. The vibe here, out there, we're looking out on there now, and you just see all those people. It's amazing. I think they've just done such a good job. It's a hard thing to pull off.
They've really gone above and beyond.
They have.
Yeah, it's only going to get bigger and better.
Well, we were talking about that in the interview. So if anyone wants to know what's going to happen next year, and I begged him not to do it at the ICCC because I can't stand that venue. But if anyone wants to know, watch that video.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
We have a woodpecker.
Huh, okay. That's interesting. Is there anything that you have, any events you've been to today that you've taken something away from? What's your experience been so far?
So I went to the event that I moderated first up, and I actually took a lot away from that. Having never been in an accelerator, even though I've had 4 or 5 companies, I just never went through the accelerator route. And I think it was really interesting. There's 2 events this afternoon that I want to see, but I think the really interesting thing was you had in there a university guy from UTS, you had Antler, you had Techstars, and then you had someone from Leading Women in Tech. And they're all quite different and they all offer different things. And I think what I probably learned was how much more startups get from going through those programs than I had anticipated and ever thought. I thought that was more just a place to work and a little bit of connections, but they really do invest a lot in making sure that even if this startup doesn't work, that founder is prepared well for the next one. And they actually talked about a couple of occasions where someone had been through the accelerator program, for whatever reason that business hadn't worked, but they'd applied that in their next startup and it had worked really well. And I love the fact that they really are, it's not just a working space, it's a proper, almost education on how to be a founder.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. It's been lovely to have you.
My pleasure.
I hope that you enjoy the rest of the summit today.
I hope you get some cracking guests as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Isabel.
Bye.